Hey there, family and friends. So let's talk about Miss Sylvia Traymore Morrison. It's a funny story how we actually ended up meeting. I had taken my mom to a jazz concert to see Brent Burkhead in Washington, D.C. at the Carlisle Room in their new location. They've since moved from Alexandria, Virginia, and relocated to D.C. following the pandemic. We went to see Brent Burkhead, a very talented saxophonist. He played one instrument that I've never seen or heard of before, but it reminded me a lot of I can't remember the name of this particular instrument, but you hear it in Australia. I think it's called a didgeridoo, something of that nature. I just couldn't believe how talented this young man was. At any rate, after the show, Miss Sylvia came over to mom and I, introduced herself, and she mentioned how she had noticed us sitting at the very front, right at the front of the stage, and how composed and elegant we were, and how we behaved in our mannerisms. And she was really taken aback and proud to be, amongst the strong, intelligent Black women. And so she literally made our night, capped our night out. I will say that I picked mom up straight from work, drove into DC from Virginia because I wanted her to have an outing. We try to have mother-daughter dates at least once a month. So that really endeared her to us, obviously, because we didn't know she was there. She was sitting somewhere, else. And we were so focused on enjoying the music and enjoying our meal and laughing with the couples around us and just having a good time. And she came up and spoke to us, and during that conversation we got to meet Mr. Andy Evans, who's also a local comedian in the area, who has a long history in the DC area, but he's also a Vietnam veteran. Miss Sylvia had used her talents in support of the troops during the Vietnam War. She traveled to the different bases in Europe as part of the USO. And so the military connect between these two and myself, as I mentioned, that I was a veteran, and being that we are not from the area, we don't know a lot of the local DC talent and celebrities within the area. So meeting the two of them was really amazing to us. Obviously, we didn't prepare to meet anyone. We just came out to have our time together as mother and daughter. After that meeting, and she gave me her card, we talked about she had book, and I wanted to make sure I got my hand on her book because I mentioned that I have Hey Dear blog and that I read and review books. And so she did let me know about that, and I got her card. And Mr. Evans, he was so sweet, and he asked her, did you give her a card? The two of them, the playoff of the two of them and the energy that they have was so wonderful. So mom and I left, and the whole ride home we were in astonishment at how we connected so quickly, so easily, how she had no problem just walking up to two individuals. She didn't realize that we were mother and daughter. It was just really, really wholesome conversation. On the way home, we talked about, my mom was like, her skin is flawless. And did you see those legs, girl? My mom. And so another thing that Miss Sylvia did tell us was that her intention was to bring Mom's Mabley to life on stage at the Carlisle, period. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Honestly, I thought this was already in motion and that she had a date plan and whatnot. But what she was doing was putting it in the atmosphere and manifesting that this is gonna happen. There was no strong tactics or anything like that. She had a very quiet determination, but she knew for sure this is gonna happen. I want to put that out there into the universe that, hey, if you have a dream or you have a desire for something, manifest that and act on it, act as if it's happening. Because lo and behold, we met her on, I think it was November 3rd, I believe. Excuse me as I try to remember what that date was because I thought I wrote it down. At any rate, December 14th was her birthday. And guess what she was doing on her birthday? Bringing Mom's Mabley to life on her birthday. And not only did she bring Mom's Mabley to life, but she also brought out of that character different individuals, different stars of that moment that Moms Mabley had imitated and or portrayed. Because Moms Mabley was more than a comedian, right? She was a singer, she was a dancer, and she actually did variety skits. And so during the show, Sylvia brought out Miss Josephine Baker, Aretha Franklin, Sarah Vaughan, and the list goes on. It was so many, and she was just shape shifting. And it seemed that she changed clothes. She took on the character of these individuals, and she was completely different. When she was Lady Day, you could see that quiet sadness in the eyes. And when she portrayed the indomitable Nancy Wilson, I was in amazement at how she came out. She sat and she sang a song, a jazz, song, but it was a sad song, and she was able to pull this not just sadness, but this, I can't believe you did this to me kind of a, aura out of her. And I had only known her as funny, outgoing, but, layers to a person has to come from somewhere in life. Okay. And so where I'm going with this is if you get a chance to get her book. It's on Amazon. And I think right now she has a sale personally where you can buy all three of her books. But if you get this here book, let me tell y'all, what you're going to learn and realize is how funny people have other areas of their lives that they tap into that bring forward other personality traits that they use in their shows. And I mean, when I say they tap in deep because this book has got me shooketh, okay? Shooketh. Because I'm like, some of the things that people who paved the way for you have to go through and endure will break you because you don't have that mission set on your life that God placed on it. All right. They can endure because it was part of the plan all along. And so they have what it needs, what they need inside to persevere through that particular storm and be able to use that story as a testimony for somebody else. But if it's not yours, it could break you. But as I'm reading, I'm thinking to myself, how many storms did Sylvia endure as a child or as a teenager that started to pave the way where she can stack and rack what she's going to deal with, what she's not going to deal with, what her mom and father instilled in her as good home training so that she didn't get herself caught up into some mess. She's able to pull from these things, but I can guarantee you when she was learning these lessons, she was like, well, damn, can I do anything right? You know, I'm certain that I am not the only one who also feels that way. Even at 45, I'm like, man, I'm grown, right? I've endured many, many storms alone by myself and had to pull myself up by my bootstraps, as we say in the military. But I know for a fact without the struggles that undergirded me, that my mom and I endured and overcame, that my family members and I endured and overcame, gave me what I needed to face the storms that would come my way later on in life. And boy, did they come. And they came with a force and severity that I was not certain that I would survive. But I did survive. And that's why I'm sitting here today with what I have and being able to assist, my mom and my community, volunteerism. I'm going to constantly give back because if I don't, then I lose. Okay. So I just want to place that in your spirit because I want you to be ready for Miss Sylvia as we go through her books. She has three. She has her autobiography almost because every time and I was understanding as I was reading this book where that title comes from, because when you almost there, almost there, almost think about it that way, because the struggle, the strife, the pushing, the determination that I'm going to meet this person and I'm going to pitch this thing and I'm going to get further ahead than I was yesterday. Because that's just another stepping stone, it's fine. That means that you did go out and try. You did use what you have to get one step further. You may fail, but damn, you did try. You didn't sit there and, oh, I wish I could. No, baby. Get up, make a move, walk in faith, because faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world, the size of a mustard seed, but with no actual activity, you can't manifest that thing that you are holding that faith in for. Anyway, so her first book, Almost There, Almost, knocks your socks off, okay? But then she comes back with a feel good. With a feel good called Jellybeans from Heaven. And I'm telling you, you see how tabbed up I got it. If you have a loved one who has gone before you and you're just wondering why, Lord, why, read Jellybeans from Heaven, because and it's fiction, but it's feel good fiction. It gives you, I feel that this was divinely placed in her spirit to write this, because it gives you thoughts of heaven and how your ancestors are actually working on your behalf to make life just a little bit better, just a little bit easier for you every day. All you have to do is, when that small, still voice in there is like, hey, by the way, you may want to do XYZ, or that dream you had that you can actually remember, because most of us cannot remember our dreams. Act on what that dream was putting in you. Just act, because you don't know how that actually came down the line from heaven into your spirit for you to make a move. Listen, I'm just one person. I just feel like this particular book was meant for a lot of people who are hurting these days. You know, COVID took a lot from us, but even outside of COVID, life has just been kicking us in the rear, okay? So if you have the chance to read a book that puts a smile on your face, you may drop a tear, but at the end of each individual story within Jellybeans from Heaven, you come out looking like, yes, it worked out the way it was supposed to. Her last book that she wrote, Me, Satan, God, and COVID-19. Now that's one heck of a trio, let me tell you. Let me tell you. We know. And it ain't gone. People keep acting like COVID is gone. No, it's morphing. You know, there are still people passing from it. Okay. COVID is still here. It's just changing. So act like you know. Wash your hands after you use the restroom. Don't cough and sneeze out in public without covering. There are people who are weak, period. Okay. Their bodies cannot handle what's going on in them and all the germs that you decided you wanted to share because you didn't want to cover your face, or because you didn't want to stay at home when you know that you were sick and possibly contagious. All right. So listen, I'm hoping that you get some great golden nuggets that you can use every day in your life to make things just a little bit easier, step by step, day by day. All right. It's your girl, Memphis Jones, coming to you from the Hey Dear Blog podcast. And I can't wait to talk to you and see you again. Have a great day.
And I hope each and every one of you can hear me. Because I had an instant when my husband thought perhaps I was a little dense. But I looked at him and I said these words to him. I said, "You're so late getting home from the office. Oh. Did you miss your train? Were you caught in the rain? No, don't bother to explain. Can I mix you a quick martini? As a matter of fact, I'll have one with you. But to tell you the truth, I've had quite a day too. Guess who I saw today, my dear? Come on. I went in town to look for something new. When it occurred to me, I wasn't very far from this nice and lovely cafe and bar. The waiter showed me to a dark, secluded corner. And as my eyes became accustomed to the gloom, I saw two people who were so in love that even I could see it clear across the room. Guess who I saw today, my dear?
I'm gonna drop my phone.
I've never been so shocked before. I headed blindly for the door. They didn't see me passing through. Guess who I saw today? Guess who I saw today? Guess who I saw today? I saw you.